I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. So if you like 20th Century Reviews, spread the word. Hello, I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache. And in 2020, I reviewed Mac Fletcher's Gulliver's Travels, which was Mac Fletcher's first animated feature. Well, to end off this half of 20th Century Reviews, I'm going to take a look at his second animated feature and his last, Mr. Bug Goes to Town, aka Hobbity Goes to Town, aka Bugville. Well, let's hop into this review. Again, no pun intended. The film is about the insects who live in the lowlands, who mostly live happy lives, with their only threat being humans that walk through the garden. But things go from bad to worse as news of a skyscraper is being built over their land. What do I think? Well, I'll tell you. Well, I like it. I put this movie on the same level as Gulliver's Travels. Let's talk about the animation, and I say it's pretty damn good. It's top notch as you would expect from Mac Fletcher, and I dare say it's on par with anything Disney was coming out with at the time. The climax of this movie results in all the bugs trying to get on the top of the building. The scene is very suspenseful and intense. The relationship between Hoppity and Honey is actually pretty cute and pretty sweet. And let's face it, these two have more romantic chemistry than either Princess Glory or Prince David from Gulliver's Travels. Now let's talk about some of the characters. First, there's Hoppity, who's kind of a screw-up, but he does have a good heart, and he genuinely cares about those in the lowlands, especially Honey and her father. And he's the first one to find out about Mr. Beetle's evil plan. And then there's Mrs. Ladybug, who can be rather paranoid at times. She's voiced by Marjorie Heights, who is the replacement voice actress for both Betty Boop and Olive Oyl when Mac Fletcher and his team moved from New York to Miami. And then there's little Buzz, who's a little bee who is a Bee Scout. Damn, try to say that 3 times fast. He's voiced by Mae Questel, who was the actual voice actress for both Olive Oyl and, yes, Betty Boop. And then there's Honey's father, Mr. Bumble. He's basically like an old grandpa, except for, he's a bee. And he's voiced by Jack Mercer, who was also the voice of Popeye. And then there's our comic relief, Swat the Fly and Smack the Mosquito. They're your classic dumbass henchmen. And whenever they're on screen, it is comedy gold. Just their names alone, Swat the Fly and Smack the Mosquito. They're basically jokes that write themselves. They are downright hilarious. They always make me laugh. And they're basically Bulk and Skull as comic relief goes. In fact, let us use the Bulk and Skull music from Power Rangers over these two, shall we? Wow, it fits perfectly. And Swat the Fly in this movie is voiced by, you guessed it, Jack Mercer. I wish Swat the Fly and Smack the Mosquito got something of a redemption. Like the henchmen in Gulliver's Travels, how they become good in the end. But no, both Swat the Fly and Smack the Mosquito, just like the henchmen in Rio, they get, punished alongside Mr. Beetle. I mean, what the hell? And then there's Jeepers Creepers, who's a cranky old slug. No pun intended. His catchphrase is, "Don't forget I told you so." And he's voiced by Pinto Colvin, the voice of Goofy. And then there's our villain, Mr. Beetle, who's about as subtle as...
Oh, because you, my friend, are about as subtle as a walrus.
Yeah, it's really obvious Mr. Beetle is the villain with that top hat and the way he's dressed. Hell, I'm surprised none of the insects catch on to his plans. He's voiced by Ted Pierce, who also did a lot of writing for many Looney Tunes cartoons. And he also provided the voice of Bombo in Gulliver's Travels. And then there are the songs, which, just like Gulliver's Travels, the only problem with the songs in this movie is that they're rather dated by today's standards, but they're still pretty good. First, there's Katy Did, Katy Didn't.
Who came to Sunday school with cherries on her lips? Katy did, Katy didn't, Katy did, Katy didn't, Katy did, Katy didn't, Katy did.
The next song is My Baby Bumblebee.
Be my little baby bumblebee.
Buzz around, keep a buzzing round.
Bring home all the honey love to me.
Let me spend the happy hours roving with you amongst the flowers when we get where no one else can see.
Cuddle, be my little baby bumblebee.
Buzz around, keep a buzzing round. We'll be just as happy as can be.
You and me, you and me, you and me. Honey, keep a buzzing, please.
I've got a dozen cousin bees.
But I want you to be my baby bumblebee.
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
And then there's Boy Oh Boy. And then there's the best song in the movie, and the song I listen to for comfort, The Castle in the Air.
We're at 19 Moonbeam Terrace, overlooking Starlight Square. We're the couple in the castle, way up high in the air. On the corner, there's a cloud bank, and we bank our millions there. We're the couple in the castle in the air. One day, a came a stealing through the gloomy heart of town. Well, that daydream brought us way up here, and we'll never come down. Call us Lord and Lady Stardust, call us crazy, we don't care. We're the couple in the castle in the air.
Well, I talked about most of the ups of the film. What are the downs of the film? Well, there are a few. The first problem with this movie is that there are a lot of bug puns. Puns like, gee weeds, or I'm going to exterminate him. But I'll take these puns any day over Mr. Freeze's puns from Batman and Robin.
Winter is coming at last. All right, everyone, chill.
Another problem with this movie is that there are stuff in this movie that has not aged well. Like, there's a scene where Hobbity puts out a cigar and thinking that it's water, only it turns out to be gasoline, he puts it out, resulting in a blackface gag. And that's not the only insensitive gag in the movie. There's also a Native American gag. It's just so sad that this movie is so good, yet these two jokes are in the movie. The third and main problem with the film is that it was not financially successful when it first came out, mostly due to the fact that it came out December 5th, 2 days before the attack on Pearl Harbor. So nobody was watching this movie. But it has gained something of a cult following for people who grew up with it. Pretty much all I have to say about Mr. Bug Goes to Town. Okay, I'm going on a little bit of a hiatus from 20th Century Reviews. in July and August, but I will be back in September with some upgrades to this series. Well, till then, I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache, signing off. I give this film 5 stars. Write, like, and subscribe to the channel and ring bell for future uploads. If you like to make a movie request on this channel, do so in the comment section below. And feel free to check out my other shows, Modern Classics, TV Treasures, and Geek Reviews. And check out my editorials.